A good number of those in our world today believe that religion helps to keep people in line. In the minds of many, faith is not just important to morality, but it's doubtful that the latter can be there without the former. Particularly in the United States, religious belief is often considered to be a crucial motivating factor in whether or not one lives morally. Some believe that trusting in a higher power is what makes the difference. However, not all religious traditions can be accurately described in this way. There are also certain kinds of Platonism that appear to fit this criterion, yet it doesn't seem right to characterize these views as religious when other things like religious practices are absent from them. We don't want to have such a narrow perspective that we assume everyone else thinks like us, whether they recognize it or not. Others who find religion necessary to moral behavior say that it's not trust in a higher power that matters most, but specifically believing and trusting in a supreme being. Again, though, not all religions profess belief in a god. In addition, some would argue that it's possible to be a theist, to believe in a deity, and not be religious. One big problem here is also that there are numerous examples in history of people who have believed in a god of some sort while living lives that most of us would generally call immoral. The distinction then falls, for many people, on whether or not someone believes in the right god or the right religion. Other religions and gods can be false, this view claims, and these won't lead to moral behavior, but having the right beliefs will. Yet this seems like a very arbitrary distinction to make. A lot of theists say the god they believe in is a good god, who they take to be the guarantor of morality, but still don't appear to us to be living especially moral lives. How one can tell the difference between true and false religion is a difficult question for these believers to answer in a way that doesn't merely presume the truth of their own beliefs against all others. Nevertheless, one thing that usually gains agreement from a number of these religious believers is the judgment that atheists are immoral. After all, atheists don't have any sort of belief in God, and many wouldn't say they believe in a higher power either. So where is their motivation to be moral? Atheists really aren't shy about answering this question. Books like Good Without God, Living the Secular Life, and A Better Life provide just a small sampling of the reasons atheists find for being good and living morally without a belief in a supreme being. Their reasons are commonly pragmatic and rational reasons, such as wanting to be treated well by others, building a meaningful life, and wanting to avoid the psychological and material consequences that can come from immoral behavior. Of course, some religious believers don't see this as enough. They often talk of how it's their belief in God that really stands between them and an immoral life where they might do whatever they please. Once again, though, we return to the thorny issue of what constitutes the right belief, since we're all aware that religious faith has at times been used to justify particularly horrible and harmful actions. It would seem to beg the question if we suppose that one must not hold the right religious beliefs simply because of the actions they've taken. What relation there is between religion and morality is the very question at stake. Empirical studies lend further credence to the idea that religion and morality are not as closely linked as some people think. A 2010 paper published in the journal Trends in Cognitive Sciences revealed no difference in how believers and non-believers respond to unfamiliar moral dilemmas. Another study, published in 2007 in the journal Psychological Science, primed subjects with either religious language or civic language prior to a dictator game where the subjects would give money to an anonymous stranger. Both groups were just as likely to be generous, although a self-report of religiosity was not found to correlate with pro-social behavior. A well-known paper by Gregory Paul in 2005 also argued that less religious societies have lower rates of murder, suicide, abortion, sexually transmitted disease, and teen pregnancy. There have been problems with Paul's study, such as how it overlooks the relationship between socioeconomic status and religiosity, but it is nonetheless a useful example in showing that less religious societies are not necessarily less moral. None of this may surprise certain religious believers. Since we're all created by God, they might imagine, it could be that God has endowed us all with some kind of moral sense. In fact, this is what some theists do believe. Atheists can be moral even while they don't recognize what enables them to be moral. Atheists can question the notion of a moral sense, which isn't obvious going from the evidence available to us. Many theists contend that the grace of God is what leads people to the truth, not their own intellectual efforts, and so we might well wonder how it is that believing the correct things about God, religion, or faith could have anything to do with being moral. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, or share it with others online. For more content like this, you can check out godlesshaven.com, as well as our Facebook and Twitter pages. Anything you can do to support us is always much appreciated, even if only helping to spread the word. But we also have a link to donate at the top corner of our website. Until next time.